Beloved family, a new day is rising under the watchful kindness of God, and this morning our prayer carries a powerful truth. The salvation of the Lord shows up as a refuge for the soul, a covering over our homes, and unshakable help along every step of our path. Psalm 98:2 declares it plainly, "The Lord hath made known his salvation." When God makes his salvation visible, fear loses its grip, hope rises again, and the heart finally finds a safe place to rest. The Lord's hand shows up exactly where human strength could no longer carry the weight. His love surrounds our paths, watches over our decisions, covers our hidden wounds, and brings peace where anxiety used to reign. Psalm 98 lifts up a field of victory, for the Lord has done marvelous things, revealed his righteousness, and shown his goodness before the eyes of the whole earth. In the comments, write your name along with the name of someone who needs to receive God's refuge, salvation, and protection today. Do it in faith, laying that life before the Lord. Subscribe as well, so you can walk with us every day in prayer, strengthen your hope, and keep seeking direction in the Father's presence. Now open your heart with sincerity. Whoever finds refuge in the Lord's salvation remains standing. My God, this new day rises before you and I stand under your mercy. I am not here to repeat pretty phrases. I come to acknowledge that if I am still standing, it is because of your powerful hand. You held me through the night, watched over my life while my eyes rested, and prepared this dawn as a sign of grace over me. Every breath of this day carries a quiet reminder. Your goodness keeps reaching me, your protection keeps surrounding me, and your wonders keep happening even in details my eyes barely notice. Psalm 98 reveals this truth to my faith. Sing unto the Lord a new song. And Lord, that new song does not only rise when everything around me looks perfect, it rises when I pause for a moment and realize your grace kept working in me, even on the days my spirit was exhausted, my heart was heavy, and my thoughts found no rest. It rises when I recognize that you accomplished wonders quietly, without fanfare, without me understanding every movement of your hand. You kept me on paths whose dangers I never knew about. You held me steady in moments when I tried to look strong, while deep down I needed a refuge. Today, I do not want to turn my prayer into a list of requests. I simply want to speak to you honestly. I want to look at my own life and admit that I have received more care than I deserved, more help than I ever noticed, more patience than I am able to give myself. How many times did I believe I was alone when your protection was already there? How many times did my soul grow restless, and yet your peace held me together before I fell apart on the inside? How many times did I wake up unsure how to face the day, and yet that day unfolded under your watchful eye? My Father, I understand that a new song is far more than a simple melody. It is a new way of looking at life after recognizing your wonders. It happens when my mouth learns to give thanks before it complains. It happens when my heart stops measuring your goodness only by what it receives and starts recognizing what has been avoided, delivered, healed, upheld, and renewed. It happens when I stop treating gratitude like an empty formula and start living with a spiritual memory, reminding myself that your hand has already lifted me up so many times. I need this living gratitude, Lord. My soul grows weary when it only sees the lack, the delay, the pressure, and the worry. My heart grows poor when I spend my days counting losses while forgetting deliverances. Complaints dry up hope. Anxiety clouds my vision. Comparison steals the shine off what you have already accomplished in me. So I return to you, not to pretend to be happy, but to receive a renewed outlook. I need to recognize once more that my story is not made only of burdens. It also carries the marks of your goodness, the signs of your help, and the memory of your intervention. You know where my heart has gone quiet. You know the places in my life where I stopped singing inwardly. You know where routine has hardened my sensitivity, where disappointment has stolen my lightness, and where waiting has worn down my faith. And yet I stand before you with a simple, deep decision. I want to start seeing your wonders again. I want to recognize your care in today's bread, in the strength that lifts me, in the protection over my household, in the peace that fills me when I breathe in your presence, and in the wisdom that keeps me from taking the wrong path. Lord, birth in me a new song, but let it be sincere. Let it be neither a forced joy nor a spiritual performance meant to hide my wounds. Let it be praise born from the certainty that you remain with me. Even when I do not have every answer, I have your love. Even when parts of my life still need restoring, I have your mercy. Even when some areas of my life feel like they are on hold, I have every reason to recognize how much you have already done and how you keep on working. I thank you for the battles that did not destroy me, for the tears that never managed to put out my faith, for every time your grace pulled me toward you when I wanted to close myself off. I thank you for the good people you placed on my path, for the dangers you kept me from, for the doors you closed to protect my soul, and for the directions you changed before I could hurt myself further. I even thank you for the seasons when I had to grow without understanding everything, because today, I can see that your love was shaping me in the silence too. My God, turn my gratitude into strength. Let me not be led only by what I lack, but sustained by everything I have already received from you. Let my mouth not be governed by fear, nor my heart driven by fatigue. Teach me to speak to you with confidence, recognizing that your goodness never disappears. When circumstances change, your hand remains steady. Your mercy keeps reaching my household, my mind, my paths, and every decision I make. Today, in the light of Psalm 98, I understand that the new song begins the moment I turn my eyes back toward you with sincerity. I do not need to deny my struggles in order to worship you. I do not need to pretend everything is resolved in order to thank you. I can come before you with my questions, my responsibilities, my wounds, and my needs, all while recognizing that you accomplish wonders. That is the kind of gratitude I want to carry, a mature, awake, and deep gratitude, capable of praising in the middle of the road and discerning the light before the answer is even fully visible. Let my soul recover that inner spaciousness. Let my faith stop being merely a reaction to hardship and become once again a response to your love. Let my thoughts be purified by the memory of everything you have already accomplished. Let my heart grow more sensitive to your daily attention. Let my entire life learn to say, through its actions, its choices, and its words, that you are worthy of my praise. A salvation bigger than my world. I remain before you, my God, letting this gratitude open a space inside me, giving birth to a new way of trusting you, a new way of moving forward, and a new readiness to recognize your wonders, and keep hearing the voice of this psalm guide my prayer. Your attention has never been insignificant. Your salvation is not limited to my emergencies or the size of my worries. It is greater than my household, greater than my plans, greater than the narrow vision I so often carry when I am tired. I turn my eyes toward you and understand that your work reaches places my eyes cannot measure, people I will never meet, paths I will never walk, stories that remain, all the same, under your powerful hand. Psalm 98:2 declares, "The Lord hath made known his salvation." My God, when your salvation shows up, fear loses the right to occupy the center of my soul. Your righteousness does not stay hidden in the shadows forever. You act, you reveal yourself, you show your works, you bring light where everything felt confusing, and you make your power known where there seemed to be only weight, doubt, and exhaustion. I need to speak to you honestly. Too often I remain locked inside my own small world. My mind curls around my expenses, my pains, my expectations, my responsibilities, and my questions. I look at what I still lack and forget that you keep saving, restoring, reaching, and leading. My vision narrows when the problem gets too close. Anxiety magnifies the threats and shrinks the memory of your greatness. So I lift my eyes toward you again, to remember that your salvation is neither fragile, nor late, nor confused. It is firm, holy, alive, and capable of reaching what once seemed out of reach. Lord, your salvation reaches the nations, but it also reaches the hidden rooms of my life. It touches my inner dialogue, my difficult decisions, my days of weakness, my still tender memories, and the way I react under pressure. It reaches the part of me that needs deliverance from rushing, from guilt, from harshness, and from the fear of trusting again. You understand that the salvation you reveal to the world must also become visible in me, in my attitudes, in how I treat others, and in the courage to keep doing good, even when my soul is asking for rest. I do not want to reduce your power to an immediate answer that suits my preference. I want to learn to recognize your intervention as a work greater, deeper, and purer than my own preferences. Sometimes you save me by closing a door. Sometimes you save me by letting a truth come to light. Sometimes you save me by removing an illusion I had mistaken for a blessing. Sometimes you save me by giving me patience, maturity, control over my words, and the peace needed to get through the day without losing my heart. Your salvation, Lord, teaches me to stop being the center of everything. It reminds me of those who need your help, those who are far from you, those who have lost hope, those who feel forgotten. Your mercy wants to cross borders, reach families, lift people up, heal stories, and bring light to those who have grown used to darkness. And even though this prayer is my own, it teaches me to look beyond myself. My Father, keep me from a narrow faith locked only inside my own relief. Give me a faith that recognizes your greatness without losing intimacy with you. I want to recognize when you keep me from a hurtful word, when you give me the wisdom to wait, when you strengthen my heart to act with fairness, when you keep me from answering wounds with new wounds. That too is your salvation becoming visible in me. Your justice, my God, is not cold. It is filled with mercy, truth, and restoration. It places everything under your light. I trust that justice, even when I cannot yet fully see its fruit. I believe you know how to tell apart what wounds me from what teaches me, what traps me from what helps me grow, what looks like loss from what is actually deliverance. Make my life a quiet but solid sign of your work. Let others see, not an empty religious appearance, but peace where there could have been despair, humility where there could have been pride, courage where there could have been retreat, and kindness where there could have been harshness. Since your salvation has been revealed, I want to carry less fear and more faith, speak less from my wounds and more from healing, and make fewer decisions under pressure and more according to the direction that comes from you, a creation that celebrates its King. And now, as my gratitude joins the recognition of your salvation, my soul begins to understand that all of creation responds to your greatness too. The sea, the rivers, the earth, the voices of creation, and even the silences along my own path, all seem to point toward the same King, preparing in me a joy that is wider, more alive, and more surrendered before your glory. Lord, creation teaches me a worship that does not stay trapped in fear, a worship that moves, that breathes, that recognizes your power without needing to control every response. The sea does not sing timidly before you. The rivers do not hide their joy. The earth is never indifferent to your name. And I, who so often hold back my words and grow tired from the rhythm of my days, need to relearn how to worship you. Psalm 98 proclaims, "Let the sea roar, let the floods clap their hands." My God, that image touches me deeply. The roaring sea, the rivers celebrating, all of creation pointing to you. Everything seems to understand better than I do that you are worthy of praise. The waters stir, the mountains stand before you, the winds blow, obeying the limits you set for them. And all of creation reveals that your hand sustains what I would never be able to hold up on my own. I speak this truth, and I realize how narrow my heart can become. One piece of bad news steals my peace. One delay weighs down my spirit. One hurtful word echoes in me far too long. Then the psalm lifts my eyes and shows me a whole creation celebrating its King. Everything around me seems to proclaim that you remain great even when my faith feels fragile. Your glory does not shrink when my eyes grow tired. Your strength does not weaken when I wake up without courage. I need this joy, Lord, a joy that does not depend only on good news, easy paths, or quick answers. A joy born from the certainty that you reign over everything in motion, as much as over everything that seems still. You are King over the restless sea and over the steady river. You are King over my home, my thoughts, my decisions, and over the parts of my story still searching for rest. I admit that many times I have wanted to worship you only when my heart felt light. I have waited for my life to settle before praising you more freely. But the sea does not wait to be calm before proclaiming your greatness. The rivers keep singing while crossing stones, bends, and narrow passages. Creation teaches me that praise can be born mid-journey, in the middle of the process. While life is still being shaped by your hand, let that truth transform my reactions. When something tries to crush me on the inside, let me hear, by faith, the roar of the waters celebrating your name. When routine tries to dull my sensitivity, let me recognize the sky, the light, today's bread, and the daily strength as testimonies of your love. I want my life to respond with the same sincerity as creation, my mouth learning to praise you without pretense, my heart finding rest by acknowledging that I do not carry the whole world in my hands. Creation celebrates its king, and that celebration heals a part of my soul that was too busy trying to solve everything alone. When I see you as my king, my heart leaves despair behind. When I worship you in the middle of the road, my faith breathes again. Praise does not erase reality, but it places reality under your light, and under your light, even what felt too heavy begins to find its proper measure, a direction, and peace. Lord, I look at the sea of my own life. Some waters are restless. Some thoughts keep returning like waves. And yet I no longer want to see those waters only as a threat. I want to learn to see them under your authority. What roars in front of me also stands before you. You are my shield, my refuge, and my safety. When the psalm speaks of rivers clapping their hands, I think of a path that keeps moving forward. A river does not stay where it was born. It crosses stones, follows bends, and continues its course. So too must my soul keep walking with you, without giving up hope at every difficult stretch. There is still direction, still renewal, still blessings prepared along the way, and still mercy reaching places I thought had dried up. Make my worship a living response to your greatness. Let my attitudes celebrate your name too. Let my patience speak of you. Let my courage honor your love. Let my household not be dominated by fear, but marked by peace. All of creation bears witness to your glory, and I want to join that witness with sincerity, filling my life less with the noise of worry and more with the sound of trust, trusting a God who judges with justice. The promise of Psalm 98 declares, "He shall judge the world with righteousness." My God, there are things I cannot fix with my own strength. There are moments when reacting too quickly causes harm, or when trying to prove my innocence ends up stealing my own peace. So I come before you with a deeper, steadier, quieter trust. Your justice does not depend on how quickly I can defend myself. Your gaze tells the difference between appearance and truth, between intention and speech, between deception and sincerity. Teach me to walk under that justice without letting my heart harden. When life brings injustice, delays, or burdens that were never mine to carry, sustain my attitude. Let my mouth not turn bitter. Let my household not be invaded by the poison of conflicts trying to force their way through the door. Give me the strength to act with integrity, even when it would be easier to return evil for evil. Your justice, Father, is not vengeance dressed up as spirituality. It is light. It puts everything back in its rightful place. It corrects without losing its holiness. It lifts up without feeding pride. When you judge with justice, even what seemed twisted starts losing its grip. What was done in the shadows comes into the open. There have been seasons of my life when my soul wanted to constantly defend itself, explain itself, prove itself. But today I want to learn a different path, remaining upright before you, working with honesty, answering with wisdom, doing good without confusing kindness with weakness, being gentle without staying passive in the face of wrong. My Father, let your justice reign wherever confusion has tried to settle. In the decisions concerning my life, in relationships worn thin by time, over my home and my responsibilities. Let every lie lose its footing, and above all, let my own life also be examined by you with mercy. Correct my motives, purify the hidden pride in my responses, heal the impatience that wants to solve everything on my own timeline. Give me the courage to admit my own faults without running from your grace. Your justice does not humiliate the one who surrenders to you. It restores, reorders, and gives fresh direction. When the world seems to favor the cleverest or the coldest, this psalm reminds me that you remain seated above every appearance. The final word belongs to the holy God, the righteous King, the Father who knows the beginning, the middle, and the end. That truth changes how I wait. I can keep doing good without applause. I can stay upright even when no one is watching. Lord, keep me from seeking justice with wounded hands. So lay your peace over the way I act. Let my strength come from integrity rather than harshness. Let my hope grow, knowing that you will judge with justice and handle every cause with perfect care. I also lay before you everything that seems delayed, the causes that drag on, the answers not yet arrived, the sincere effort met only with silence. Divine justice never arrives empty-handed. It brings truth, restoration, deliverance, and direction. My hope rests on your character. You are just when you correct, just when you protect, just when you wait, just when you lift up. Nothing about you is confused, cruel, or careless. Your justice carries holiness and mercy in the very same hand, laying down what was never mine to carry today. My God, I come before you to lay down burdens that piled up without me even realizing it. Burdens of expectation, guilt, worry over other people's lives, and the weight of carrying things that were never meant to rest on my shoulders. I speak to you honestly. Many times I have carried pain that wasn't mine. I have taken on responsibilities beyond my strength. I have held words inside, absorbed tension, and stayed in inner places where my soul was already begging for rest. I tried to manage everything, keep the peace, and be strong for everyone, until, somewhere along the way, I lost a piece of my own lightness. But before you, I begin to see things more clearly. Loving someone does not mean carrying the whole world on my shoulders. Kindness does not mean letting other people's lives crush my own. Helping has its limits. Being available does not mean abandoning my own soul. My God, touch the places in my life where I accepted burdens out of fear, habit, guilt, or a desire to be accepted. Heal the part of me that confused love with exhaustion. Heal my tendency to turn other people's problems into my personal mission. Free me from the need to control outcomes that belong to your care and to each person's own responsibility. Some burdens came in through the door of worry, others through guilt, some disguised as urgency. Today, in your presence, I acknowledge them without shame and hand them over to you with sincerity. Take off my shoulders what was never meant for my path. Give me the maturity to love without destroying myself. Give me the wisdom to help without losing myself. Give me the firmness to end cycles of exhaustion when staying only feeds suffering and confusion. Your healing also reaches my tired body, my overloaded mind, and my restless sleep. When a weight from the outside stays too long in the soul, it eventually spreads into the body, the words, and the way of living. So pass your powerful hand over every wounded part and restore the peace that slowly wore thin under unbalanced responsibility. Teach me to move forward with healthy boundaries, without harshness and without guilt. A boundary can also be an act of love, a sign of wisdom, a protection you grant me. Let my decisions be guided not by the fear of losing people, but by the truth that protects the soul. I also entrust to you the people I have worried about beyond all measure, the ones whose choices consumed my peace, the ones I placed at the center of my nights and my fears. Every life belongs to you first. I can love, support, and pray, but I cannot take the place that belongs only to you, my God. Free me from the guilt of resting, of recognizing my limits, and of continuing to live in peace, even when some people are upset by my decision to stop carrying certain burdens. The peace that comes from you is not abandonment, it is direction. Make a clear separation in my life. What belongs to me, help me face it with courage. What belongs to others, help me return it to them with respect. What belongs to you alone, help me entrust it to you with full confidence. My worth is found in your gaze, in your grace, and in your hand resting on me. A new song for an ordinary day. There is a real difference between simply waking up and waking up with a soul that remembers. Many seasons have lips that keep repeating the same worries, a memory that keeps circling back to the same exhaustion, and a heart more used to talking to its problems than to the goodness of the Lord. So this psalm rises like a strong voice calling for an inner transformation. God keeps accomplishing wonders even when daily life looks ordinary, even when the days bring no dramatic sign, even when the answer isn't clearly visible yet. The new song begins when we look back and recognize we did not walk through every trial alone. There were deliverances on paths that seemed unremarkable. There was protection in decisions that seemed insignificant. There was mercy in the days of weakness. There was love in details we might only recognize today. Life doesn't always show right away what God is doing, but time reveals the fingerprints of His hand. Some closed doors were a refuge. Some delays were protection. Some silences were a season of healing. Some losses prevented deeper wounds. Some changes that first brought fear ended up revealing the right direction. Psalm 98:2 declares that the Lord has made known His salvation. That word shows that God never acts in a disorganized, weak, or aimless way. Whatever begins in secret eventually finds the moment it is meant to appear. Often, In the middle of the process, the soul cannot see the whole path. Pressure grows heavier, questions multiply, and the weight feels endless. And yet God works with a wisdom that does not answer to human impatience. When the right time comes, what once felt hidden becomes the testimony of His love. Salvation becomes visible in restoration, in deliverance, in healing, in renewed strength, and in a peace that remains even before everything is fully resolved. This is about recognizing that the weight does not get the final word. God keeps sustaining everything, and that support also reaches the one who feels overwhelmed by their responsibilities. The sea doesn't wait to be calm to glorify its Creator. The rivers don't stop at the stones. All of creation continues its testimony even while moving forward. In the same way, our lives can also learn to honor God in the middle of the journey. Mature gratitude does not depend only on the final outcome. It is born in the middle of the road, while there are still questions, tasks to finish, and areas still being transformed. True celebration does not deny reality. It chooses to set that reality before the greatness of the Lord. When God takes His rightful place again, the problem loses its throne. Anxiety stops governing the voice. Rushing loses its force. The soul finds the right measure to move through each day. Psalm 98:9 affirms that the Lord will judge the world with righteousness. That promise brings rest to anyone who has known injustice, false judgment, twisted words, or suffering no one else witnessed. God's justice is never fooled by appearances. He sees the roots, knows the intentions, weighs the actions, and places everything under His light. This truth does not feed a desire for revenge. It nourishes trust. Whoever rests in divine justice no longer needs to spend their life proving everything. They no longer need to let bitterness become their daily bread. God knows how to deal with what was done in the shadows. He knows how to defend without losing His holiness, and how to correct without ever acting out of confusion. But this justice also works inside us. It doesn't only look at other people's mistakes. It examines our motives, our words, our choices, and our reactions. Often we want God to bring order around us while He also wants to bring order within us. The same light that protects also reveals what still needs to grow. The same grace that comforts also teaches a better way to walk. Faith grows when we let God take care of both our outer circumstances and the parts of our heart still needing healing, humility, self-control, and wisdom. That is why Psalm 98 is not simply an invitation to sing. It is a call to live with memory, gratitude, hope, and confidence in divine justice. A memory that recognizes the wonders God has already done. A gratitude that keeps the soul from being ruled only by what is still missing. A hope that keeps moving forward even when some answers still feel far away. A confidence that knows the Lord sees everything with perfect clarity. This psalm teaches that life can find a new song the moment it stops repeating only fear, fatigue, and complaint. Sometimes that new song starts very simply, in a quiet gratitude before falling asleep, in a wiser word chosen instead of a harsh reply, in a right decision made without applause, in someone choosing to keep moving forward with dignity, even without understanding every detail of the road. It happens when a person discovers there is still grace in this day, still mercy holding up their household, still protection around their steps, and still a direction God is preparing. The new song is the sign of a soul that has recovered its sight. It doesn't mean the absence of struggle. It means the presence of spiritual discernment. The person begins to understand that God never lost control of their story. The Lord's wonders keep unfolding. His salvation keeps being revealed. All of creation keeps pointing to the King. His justice remains unshaken. So life no longer has to stay trapped in old refrains. A new response is offered to anyone who chooses to recognize, once again, the hand of God. Father, thank you for meeting me here this morning. Thank you for hearing the honest words of this prayer, and for the wonders you continue to work, seen and unseen. Let me carry this new song into my day, a song made of gratitude, trust in your justice, and freedom from every weight that was never mine to hold. Watch over my household, guide my decisions, and let your salvation remain visible in the way I live. In the name of Jesus Christ I pray. Amen. If this prayer spoke to your heart today, write Amen below, and share this message with someone who needs to be reminded that God still works wonders. Thank you for praying with us this morning. Until tomorrow, walk in His peace.